Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Microsoft Reactor session today. My name is Erika, and I am the program manager in Stockholm for the Reactor. Today we have, let's just change the screen. So today we are going to have Matthias and Danielle with us from Sweden, and we are going to leveraging GitHub Co-pilot. What we're going to do? Well, we are going to supercharge your development productivity, tackle your complex projects, and foster innovation. Let me bring our speakers here today, Daniel and Matthias. Thank you so much for being here. Well, Matthias, you are a veteran almost now. Reactor. It's great to have you back. And Danielle, you're a newbie. Welcome.
That's right. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's really, really great to have you guys here. Danielle, would you say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Like I said, I'm excited to be part of this presentation today. We're going to talk about GitHub Co-pilot, of course. A little bit short description about myself. I'm Daniel. I've been part of Solidify, that's partner with Microsoft and GitHub for about 4 years. I do mainly development on the front end side. Really excited about GitHub Copilot and the help that we can leverage from that. So yeah, this is going to be fun.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Great.
And yes, you've been an MVP for quite so many years now. So Danielle, this could be your way to get to follow. You earned your MVP title as well in the short time.
Yeah, I think it's time. I mean, I've only been in the program for 15 years, so
that's nothing.
No, time flies.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to leave the word over to you, Matthias and Danielle. So, guys out there, thank you so much for joining. As always, please ask your questions, drop them in the chat. We'll be monitoring it throughout the session and we'll be answering as fast as possible. So have fun, let's learn, and I see you soon.
Thanks. Yeah, great to be here again. I think we'll switch over to my slides in a second. Yeah, so this is a session about Copilot for efficiency and innovation. Those are big words. But it's almost like we talked about before we started here, like the graduation session for us. So this is the third session we're doing on GitHub Copilot, and we've been showing different ways to work with Copilot. The first session was all about getting started and getting it to work. The second one was more about tips and tricks. So in this third session, I actually managed to get Daniel, a developer, to join the session, so we can see how this actually works in day-to-day work. So I know, Daniel, it's not super easy to show a day in the life as a developer, but I'm sure you do your best in demoing Copilot in a bit.
Will do.
Yeah. So the idea we have today is that we will apply what we learned in the two previous sessions and do it in a bit more end-to-end fashion. So you get a chance to see how GitHub helps with the developer productivity, but also then other things. If you have ideas, some of you maybe have joined the other sessions. If you have ideas of what you want to use Copilot for, or if you're curious if it could be used for the scenarios that you have in mind, use the chat, and we'll see if we can pick up some topics at the end of this session, or at least give you pointers to where you can go and look for more answers, because this is a really cool thing. And I mean, I've been around for a while, so I don't know. The older you get, it's harder to get excited. But Copilot is one of the things that really fascinates me. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy the demo, Daniel. Yeah.
I'm sure he will.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, raising the expectations here. Yeah. But first, before we dive into the demos, a quick recap of what we might have touched on earlier. But for those of you who haven't joined before, I just want to give you a little bit of context to what Copilot is, and then we will dive in and try to apply it. So GitHub Copilot is an AI service from GitHub. So it's a service running in the background in GitHub that helps us be more productive and also do other things like accelerate innovation and helps us learn new things. So as we will see, the productivity features comes in as GitHub Copilot being what the name implies, right? It's a copilot to us. It will assist us. It's like a virtual pair programmer or a mentor that will help us be more efficient in developing our software. And as we will learn, it can also be used to try out new things and achieve results much quicker. So it's really interesting tool for a developer, and I think it's also a very good example of how AI works together with us. It's not replacing the important things we do, but it can definitely help us do more. And you will see this by example in a bit, but like I said, the product Copilot is the AI service in the backend. It runs on the context we provide. So in order to get good help from Copilot, we need to open up files in our development environment, and then Copilot on the client side will use that context to prompt the AI service, which then will return suggestions back to us. And this is powered by the OpenAI Codex, so it's a large language model running in the background. It's been trained on all sorts of development languages and also examples from open source. So it knows a few things about development, but it also knows about language in general. So you can write or prompt Copilot in Swedish, and it will help you just as well as if you do this in English, which is quite nice as well, because not everyone have English as their first language. And we'll show you Visual Studio Code today, but it can also be used in other development environments like the JetBrains IDE, as well as in a code space. So there's a lot of ways to interact with the Copilot. Again, if you want to know more about the background, what's happening in the background, how to set it up, check out the earlier sessions. So this will be the last recap slide, but just to illustrate that on the client side, Copilot uses a plugin in the environment. It then synthesizes the code that we're working on or what we're asking about, sends it over to the backend. It will parse it and come up with suggestions. And it does this in a responsible way. So data sent from the client gets filtered for the backend, removing personal identifiable information, secrets, and whatnot. And we do sentiment analysis and similar things on the way back. And again, we talked about this earlier as well, if you want to dive more into the details of it, how it actually works. So with that said, today we're going to talk about developer productivity. And this is an interesting thing. What do we actually mean with developer productivity? So I listed a few of the things that it could mean, like how, and maybe the thing you think about first would be how quickly can I finish a task, like the speed of writing code. Yeah, that's one way to look at productivity. But it can also be a really big thing to understand what you are supposed to do. So understanding requirements, as well as understanding the technology and the tools in an efficient way. If I'm new to a tool, I probably won't be so productive, even if I'm really good at writing code in a different environment. Other things that could slow me down would be troubleshooting, fixing problems in my code, and a lot of other things that could be regarded more as soft skills or soft factors. If I'm in a very stressed environment, I might not be so productive because I'm feeling pressed to produce a result. So thinking about productivity and especially thinking about how can we improve productivity will require you to think about factors like this. And when it comes to GitHub Co-pilot, of course, it should improve developer productivity. So GitHub and adopters of Copilot, and we also, when we adopt this both internally within Solidify and when we work with customers, is that we will try to compare how things worked before Copilot and after. And here's the result of a survey, and we'll share the link to this survey that indicates or showed that the developers using Copilot said that they were, a magnitude faster, 96% faster with repetitive tasks. And they say that they are more productive and more satisfied with their work. And again, pretty subjective things. So what does that really mean? Then we can try to break this down into more details. And maybe the productivity could be measured in how fast I complete the task, but also how much time less I spend searching for things. If I could get it right in my context, someone suggests it for me based on understanding what it is that I'm doing, then I don't have to go to a search engine and try to find the solution for a problem. And as we will see in the demos, GitHub Copilot is super good at doing this in context. So we will stay more in the flow. We don't have to open a separate browser, go searching, get a whole bunch of different results, and then figure out what's the best result. That's what Copilot is there to assist us with. And hopefully this leads to more job satisfaction and less frustration. So I think this is something that after you got warmed up and really start liking Copilot, if you want to really improve and make sure you use it as good as you can, start thinking about how should we measure developer productivity. And we might come back and do a different session on that because it's a big topic as well. Just to wrap up this discussion, if you read the article that show the numbers that we had on these slides, they use a framework called SPACE. And this is a framework to measure productivity. There are other frameworks that also gives indicators to how teams are performing, like the DORA metrics, for instance. But this is quite interesting because it measures performance indicators in 5 different dimensions: the well-being aspect, the performance aspect, the actual time to complete, or the number of activities that you can perform over time, and so on. So this is a really interesting framework. And it's not only measuring things at the individual level, it also takes team and organization levels into account. So if you were to do a survey like the one that GitHub conducted to show their own results, you typically put together a matrix like this, where you would measure individual results, like how quickly can we perform code reviews, coding time, lines of code, and so on. But also doing this at a larger scale or dimension, like the team level and whatnot. And what we'll see in the demos, hopefully, is that Copilot is really adding value at the individual level as it is right now. But there's a lot of opportunities in these areas as well. And we'll touch a little bit on that at the end of this session if we have time or remember. So with that, I want to kick off the walkthrough here, or the scenario. And today I'm welcoming Daniel to the team. So welcome to the job, Daniel. This is the first day as a developer here at Contoso Inc. I want you to quickly get started on a problem that I've had, and it is that someone built a calculator for me. And even though it looks really nice, I don't like the infinity thing when we do a division by 0. So there seems to be a bug in the code. because I really like the Windows calculator, and it says cannot divide by 0. So yeah, if you could go and figure out what's happening in the calculator, that would be great.
All right, definitely. Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be here. Let me take over and share my screen, and we can get this going. So you should be able to see my screen.
I do. Yeah.
Before we get started, I'm a bit interested in getting to know what you guys are doing. Are you developers? Are you in school? Yeah, feel free to drop it in the chat what you do. Is coding just a hobby for you? Would be fun to know. But yeah, let's get going. So like Matthias said, first day of the job usually means setting up a new machine, cloning a repository to my local machine, and a bunch of setup administration that's usually quite cumbersome and boring, to be frank. So what I'll do here, Matthias just sent me the link to the repository of this calculator that he speaks of, and I have it open here in GitHub. And what I'll do is well, I have already created actually a code space here in GitHub. So what that allows me to do is it spins up an environment that I can access directly in the browser with the visual code like this. So yeah, I would say I'm off to a pretty good start for the first day. Just a click of a button and I have my environment up and running. So let's explore this project a little bit, see what we have here. So I see a calculator here. Sounds like that's where I want to head in. And this looks like a React project with the TypeScript. Seems to be created with the Create React app. Kind of familiar to me, so I feel fairly confident that we can fix this. So I'm just going to start by installing the dependencies here, so we can get up and running. And yeah, while that is loading, can quickly go through the sort of different components of GitHub Co-pilot that we have here in Visual Code. So there are a few extensions that can be downloaded, and we have the GitHub Co-pilot that gives me suggestions and auto-completion inline in my editor. And we also have the GitHub Copilot chat. So I have them, or I have that here. And let me actually go ahead and clear this. So we start from a fresh slate. All right, so let's see here. I have installed my dependencies. I would like to go ahead and start this program that we have here. So I'll do quick npm start, and we should have it up and running. All right, so we have the calculator here. Seems to be working fine. Can do addition. Yeah, seems to be working. So the bug that was reported was division by 0, and it shows infinity. So let's see what we can do about that and how we can use GitHub Copilot for that. So I'll head into the source directory here and the index file. Okay, this looks familiar. I'll head into the app and see a bunch of code here. All right. Now I would like to get this sorted out fairly quickly so I can maybe move on to some more exciting feature development and stuff. So what I'll do here is I'll highlight the code here, and I'm gonna hit Command I on Mac, should be Control I on Windows, and this little input prompt here, yeah, here I can ask questions about the code. I can ask GitHub Copilot to generate new code and so on. And one really neat thing here are slash commands. So I have a few of them here. I can do a fix. I can ask Copilot to explain the code and so on. So I think that's a good start, just to get me up and running here. And hopefully I can fix this issue. So we get a bunch of the explanation here. You can see that it's a React project. Figured that out already, but it's a calculator and so on. So all right, without digging into the code too much, I can ask GitHub Copilot to get me on the right track here to fix this issue. So can you help me find the part of the code that does calculation? And we'll see what it gives us. Okay, so I'm not gonna read through all of this code, but you can see here that it gives me the calculate function. We get a little snippet here of what it does. So I immediately can get to what's important here for me without digging into it too much. And I can also see here where the division case is in this example. So let me head out of the chat, and I can see here that calculate is right here. All right, so what I'll do now is I'll ask Copilot. My boss has reported a bug for this code. Can you help me find it? So what seems to be the issue? Division by 0 does not work. All right, so it's thinking, giving me some tips here on what I could do to solve this issue. So yeah, seems good enough. Just inline here in the code, it suggests that I add this if case to see if the operand is 0, then we should return false, and that should be more along the lines of what we actually want. So let me, what I did there, by the way, was just hit accept, and it automatically adds the suggested code to my file here. So I'll head into the app, and I'll try division by 0. Okay, so we are not getting the infinity anymore. I know, Matthias, you said you wanted it to display a message, but I think this is probably good enough for now. So we'll say that that's a success for start. So what I'll do is I'll close the web server here, and let me just add this to Git. Fix the division by 0 bug. All right, so what I should have done here is probably create a new branch. So let me actually go ahead and let's see. I would like to back out of this actually. So we could ask GitHub Copilot, how can I reset Git to the latest, or actually, how can I undo my latest git commit. All right, so we get a bunch of information here, and this seems like what I would like to do. Just allow this here. All right, so we should have a diff of the changes that we made, and we'll go ahead and check out a new branch and get this to GitHub. So just name it bug fix. We'll add everything. And we'll push it up. Oops. So this is what I want. All right, so there we go. We should, if I head back to the repository, have a new pull request here that is ready. So another cool thing that comes with GitHub Co-pilot is Co-pilot for pull requests. So let me see here if I can sort of automate and have this pull request flow. GitHub Copilot do that for me. So let me see here. I should have a link here somewhere with the documentation for that, and have that here on my other screen. So just bear with me briefly. So what I can do here is add a description, and we should be able to have GitHub Copilot give us a summary of this pull request. So we'll go ahead and create that pull request. And see what it gets us. This should be enabled, right, Matthias, on the repository. Well, we might be able to get back to this later, actually. See if we can get this going.
Hey, Daniel.
Hello.
Erica here. We lost Matthias. He's having some Chrome troubles, but he's working on it, just FYI.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Wouldn't be a live experience without some hiccups, right? Okay, but I feel fairly okay with this. Like we said, first day of work. Haven't written a line of code myself. I've used GitHub Copilot to point me in the right direction and get this fixed. So we'll get back to the GitHub Copilot for pull requests later, I think, if we have the time. All right. So let me go back here a bit to the repository. Well, now that I have some free time, I can actually dig into a bit of a hobby project of mine. Seems a bit more interesting than this calculator stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So what I'll do is head back into my code space here, and I'll back out to the master, or actually the main branch. So looks like you're back, Matthias. Welcome back.
Yeah, I was watching a hung browser. That wasn't super funny, but
I see.
Yeah, I'm going to rewatch the recording so I can see the proof that you fixed the bug.
Yeah,
it looked good. really good. Yeah,
that's good. We had might be having some issues with the Copilot for pull requests functionality. So maybe we can revisit that later.
Absolutely.
If you might be able to show us that. But I just explained that now, since I've done my task for the day, it was so quick with the help of Copilot. So now I have some time over for some hobby project of mine. And a friend of mine actually sent me this JSON file of superheroes, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm into superheroes. I like them. I know there's a lot of them out there. So it would be fun to do something with this. And also, I hear that Python is the language to use for crunching data and doing stuff with data. And I actually haven't used Python that much, so I'm really not fluent in Python at all. So I am going to try out Python with the help of GitHub Copilot. So I know a thing or two about it. I know that the file extension is py, and usually create the main file, right? So I'll start there and see where we can go. So what I like to do here, have this huge file of superheroes, and it's a lot of data. Have about 8,000 rows here. So would like some help from GitHub Copilot to explore this data and see what fun stuff we can do with it. So I think I'll start with asking Copilot how I can get this data into my Python script and use the data and read it. So again, I hit Command I to get this prompt up, and I'll ask it to, can you help me import, or can you help me read the file superheroes.json into this script? So we'll see what it gives me. It immediately suggests that I open up the superheroes.json and stores the data here in a variable and then prints it. So that looks good to me. If I hover over the accept here, I can see the shortcut key for that. It's Command Enter on Mac. So just like that, we have that up and running. Now, I am not sure how to actually start this, so I'm gonna go to the chat window here, clear out my previous history, and ask, how do I run this Python script? All right, so it tells me open up your terminal. I have that here. I am supposed to navigate to the directory where the file is and then run Python. So we'll see. We are here, and we can head into the superheroes project and see that we have the main.py script here. So yeah, I'll try it out. Python main.py. All right, so we have the JSON here for the superheroes. Looks good enough. Like I said, I haven't written much Python. I did not know about this syntax and the with statement, that I have to use that to load the file. So that's really good. So what I'll do next here is I would like to get this formatted a little bit better, so I can get a better look of all the properties here and so on. So I'll start by highlighting this part of the code, and I'm going to ask Copilot to convert this to a function. So let's see, defines a function, load data, and then returns the data. It's good enough for me. What I'll do next is can sort of freebase here a bit, and I guess I'll create a variable called superheroes, and store the data from there. And as you might have been able to see, GitHub Copilot gives me a suggestion to autofill this from the context of this file. So I'll save that, and just to make sure it works, I'm going to do the same thing again here and print it all. All right, so that looks good. Like I said, I would like to explore this data a bit. So I'm going to open up the prompt again, and I'm going to ask it to loop through all elements in the superheroes variable and print the values of all the objects. Actually, I would like to print the properties and the values of all the objects. So I'll hit enter and watch it think for a bit. And here we have a suggestion for what to do. It seems like it's looping through all of the superheroes and yeah, gives me all of the keys and values and prints them to the output. So let's see what that looks like. We'll go ahead and run the script again. And yeah, seems good enough. We have a bit more formatted data here. So we can see here that Yoda, okay, yeah, seems cool. So I'll go ahead and just copy this and add it here on top of the file and comment it out just for reference to me to see what the different properties are. So we have a name, we have a gender, height. All right, we have a publisher, George Lucas. Okay, so let's see. I'm a bit interested in seeing if there's any superheroes from Marvel or DC here in this data set. So let's see if GitHub Copilot can help us with that. First of all, I'm just going to convert this into a function. Okay, that's cool. So it just defines a function and it takes the superheroes as an argument and prints it for us. So that's awesome. So I'm just gonna format my code a bit better here, like so. All right, so let's see. Can you return all of the, well, actually, can you create a function that returns all of the superheroes that is published by Marvel? So let's see what it gets. It defines a function called get Marvel superheroes. We are loading in our data and we are looping through all of them. And if the hero publisher equals Marvel Comics, we are appending that to a list and then returning it. So that seems good enough for me. I'll go ahead and accept that and just format my code a bit here. So just I'll have a look here and see that publisher, yeah, that seems to be the correct property name for this data set. So that's great. Okay, so now I would like to use this and see what it gives me. So create a new variable. And as you can see here, GitHub Copilot suggests and things that, yeah, I probably want to use this new function. And after that, we can go ahead and print this. So let's see what we get here. Gonna clear my terminal and seem to be getting, yeah, Marvel comics superheroes. So that's nice.
Nice.
Okay, let's see if we have any DC comics or superheroes. Now create a function that returns all DC comic superheroes. So we get sort of the same like we did before, but for DC this time, so that seems good. And I am going to move this down a little bit and go ahead and take this as well. And see how many DC characters we have here. So get DC superheroes, and we'll print that to the console. All right, DC Comics looks about right. So I might not be fluent in Python, but I do recognize sort of a bad pattern here, that we have two functions that does sort of the exact same thing. So what I like to do here is to refactor these two into one generic function that could give me all the superheroes for a given publisher. So go ahead and mark this code, these two functions, hit Command I, and tell GitHub Copilot to refactor these two functions into one that returns all superheroes for a given publisher. So let's see what we get. Get publisher superheroes. We have a publisher as an argument here, and we see that the new part of the code here checks if the publisher of the hero is equal to the publisher that I sent in, and then appends it to a list and returns it by the looks of it. So go ahead and accept that. And as you can see, the two older functions were replaced by this refactored one. And we'll see how that works. So the get Marvel superheroes does not exist anymore, and same with the DC superheroes. So we should be able to, here it helps me to autocomplete with the Marvel comics, and the same with DC comics here. So let's just see that it works. So we are printing the DC comics here, and seems all right. Okay, so that's cool and all, but let's see if we can step this up a notch and create something more fun with this. So I don't know all of these superheroes, would like to know them a bit better. So I'm thinking maybe I can create a little game to help me with this. So I'm thinking that I would like the game to print a random superhero from this list and ask me which publisher is this from, and just to help me memorize these. So I can go ahead and delete that for now, and going to clear this out and use GitHub Copilot chat for this. So I'll ask it, help me create a game, a guessing game. The game should ask the game should print a random superhero from the superheroes.json file and ask the user to guess which publisher the superhero has. So let's see what it gives me.
Kind of takes programming to a different level.
Certainly does.
Yeah.
I know I've done these types of things myself a few times, and it does take some time. And here we seem to be up and running quite quickly with this. So let's see what we get here. We do some imports at the top, and just like we did before, we open up the superheroes JSON file. We seem to get the random superhero, and then we have a play game function here that gives us a random superhero. And yeah, we seem to be taking some input here and converting it to lowercase, and yeah, seems all right with me. So what I can do here is hit the little 3-dot icon and insert this into a new file. So that seems like a good start for me, and I hit Command S to save it as game. So let's see how this works. I can do Python game.py. So guess the publisher of Triton. I'm not sure about this one. Do you have any idea, Matthias?
Nope. Maybe ask Co-pilot.
Yeah, probably give me a better answer, but I'm just gonna guess Marvel Comics. I guessed it. Congratulations. That's nice. Let's try one more time. Living Brain. I'm not sure about this one. Any suggestions?
The chat says DC Comics. Yeah. So
DC Comics. Okay. Let's
see
if you're right. Oh, it was Marvel for this one. All right. It's always difficult to separate those two, I think.
Yeah. This is really nice. This shows how easy it is to start creating completely new solutions if you just have the intent clear.
Exactly. So
I think we have about 10 minutes, Daniel. So I think we can leave a couple of minutes for questions. But yeah, what should we look at now? Because you showed us how we can be more productive, and even though the PR stuff didn't quite work, I found why. Because the repository hadn't been enrolled in the preview. So
right.
That's on our side. But yeah, and this was really nice as well to see how we could come up with something from just an idea.
Yeah, just to wrap it up, this whole Python experience. So like I said, I have very limited knowledge of Python, and I had this data set with a bunch of properties, and I just wanted to explore it and get up and running and do something fun with it. Of course, you can get even more innovative than just creating a simple guessing game, but this really shows how quick and efficient I can be with the help of GitHub Copilot. So yeah, this was a fun experience, and I think I'll use this guessing game to brush up on my superhero knowledge.
Definitely something for the quiz on a Friday night. Yeah, but let's say, okay, me being the bad boss here, I don't really like us doing coding in Python. I just want to use TypeScript. How easy it is to get help converting this to TypeScript? Because I know that Copilot can do some of that, right?
Yeah, well, we can ask it. Let me go ahead and go into chat again, and we'll see what it can do. Convert this code to TypeScript, please. So here we go. We seem to have a similar structure. It even gives us some interfaces here with the types, and
Yeah.
we can go ahead and insert this into a new file and save it as game.ts, and let's see what it does. We can try it out.
Even looks
Actually, we have to
familiar. It's a little bit of more work, but I mean, this is also really cool. Yeah, because I mean, a lot of time if you search for something or you have a working example in a different language, really nice to get the help converting it like this. Yeah,
exactly. And we do also have the Copilot Labs extensions that I don't have it really up and running here in my environment, but here you could use some predetermined or predefined functions. They call it brushes, so you can debug code, add types, and they also have a language translation module here that it works similarly like chat, so I can pick and choose from the language that I want to translate it into. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I think let's see. I have one more summary slide. So I think we can. I'll share my screen, and let's see what happens here. Okay. All right. So the idea here was to get a sense of what Copilot adds to your day-to-day work as a developer, and I think I really could see that you. I mean, even if you had to spell it out loud to explain to us what you were doing, you have all of that in your head. You type some in clear text, you get some examples back. You also get the what do you call it? Ahead of suggestions for what to do next. What's the word for it? Ghost text, maybe. So hopefully the gang today could see some of the benefits you get directly from Copilot, but others you need to learn how to work with Copilot a little bit to get as much as possible out of it. But I think we're already seeing boost in productivity in many of the dimensions that we talked about earlier. It will help you with practical things like raising the quality of the code, because you don't have to assume so much. If you're not sure about something, you can ask. If something doesn't work, you can ask and have it and get help fixing it. So it will result in more stable code, and you will be quicker to finish and get the stuff out in production as well, or adding value to customers. And I mean, I don't know what you think, Donny, but I think it's fun. It's really fun to see what Copilot comes up with next.
So. Definitely. I mean, I can it's really exciting, and this sort of exploring that I demoed here is a really good way to get just up and running and do it quickly without maybe prior knowledge to a certain programming language and so on.
Yeah, that's great.
Really,
I think we have about 5 minutes before we're on the hour mark, and I know, Magnus, you've been keeping up with the questions, but do we have any questions left for Daniel or myself?
Hello.
Hi.
Let's see. Yes, Magnus has been very helpful. Let's see. I think, yeah. He answered that. I don't think he's answered this one. He managed. Can Co-pilot iterate through an entire project folder on VS Code?
No, at the moment, it works on the files you open. So I'm sure that's something the team would like, but I think part of it is in the contextual, that it's only so much that you can use in a prompt at the moment. So then we help Co-pilot a little bit by opening up what's most relevant for us right now. Yeah, who knows? It makes sense to be able to do this. Yeah.
I would say that's sort of a learning curve. Once you start with this, you sort of realize that okay, you got to give it some sort of context for it to use, and works really like a sidekick or a pair programmer. You give it some information, and it helps you based on that. So yeah.
Thank you. And I think this wasn't answered either. What are the begin and end comments? I was during your demo, Daniel.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's that, Erika?
What are the hashtag begin and hashtag end comments?
Right. So that's just for the generated code. It shows where it starts and where it ends. The code that was generated by GitHub Co-pilot.
Great. I think that's it. So guys, if you have any more questions, or if we missed a question that you've asked, please type again. But I'm scrolling. And to answer your question, Danielle, before you started your demo, there are software engineers that work full time, developers. There are quite a few students as well. Yeah,
cool.
it's a good mix.
Yeah.
That's fun for us to know as well. And like you asked, Erika, type in the chat if you have ideas for other topics as well, and we'll keep that in mind for future sessions as well.
Yes, absolutely. I've got a couple of ones here. There is a question. Can Co-pilot work with any stack?
Yeah, I think it's more or less trained on development languages. I don't know exactly. Do you know? Have you seen, Daniel, if there are certain limitations? But I mean,
no, I think I would guess that like Python or JavaScript are one of the most used languages in the world, right? So there's more data to train on that. If you're using some obscure language, maybe not as good coverage on that, but I guess the more that's out on GitHub, that's open sourced, the better it should become at that, right? But C# or Java, I would definitely, I would definitely say that C# or Java is supported. Haven't tried it myself, but should be.
C# works great, and same with obviously Python and TypeScript and JavaScript and so on. So kind of just works, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
And then we have one more question, and I think that's going to be the last one now. What's the limit of returned code? Sometimes it gets stuck on few lines function.
I don't have the exact number of tokens. Do you know, Matthias?
I don't think it's as far as I know. I can't remember if there's a hard limit, but sometimes it gets stuck. But then I would just make sure that I see the little Co-pilot icon spinning, so I know networking and all that works, and then just start typing again, and then it usually wakes up and works again. But I think it kind of, like you talked about, Daniel, sometimes you need to give cues to Copilot, because it can get stuck if it doesn't understand your context properly. So either open up more files or be a little bit more verbose in a comment next to the code that you're trying to write, and then it will suggest more things.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to run the large JSON file that I had with superheroes, about 8 or 9K lines, and ask the chat to do some formatting, and that was too large. But then I just asked it in plain text to, can you do this for me? Format it like this instead. So there's sort of ways to work around that limit of tokens, right?
All right. Well, I saw the comment from the one asking the question here, and I think see if I can find the link to the Copilot discussion forum. So if you're experiencing things that you feel doesn't work, either you could do thumbs up, thumbs down, and that will obviously give sentiment back to the service. But if you feel that some workflow is broken, then I would start a thread on the discussion forum and see what others have experienced.
Great, thank you. And then meanwhile you're searching, the very last question, I'm going to direct to you, Danielle. Copilot is available. Is Copilot chat available for other IDs?
It should be available for the JetBrains suite, right? I think you mentioned that, Matthias. I myself haven't tried it, but I think it's that and VS Code. Does that sound about right, Matthias?
Not entirely sure, to be honest. Yeah, I would check the marketplace. I mean, this is a very up and coming technology, so I would check Visual Studio Marketplace for extensions, and obviously the same for the others. But yeah, we can probably figure it out. We have the links in the notes here as well to the documentation. So there's a section on supported IDs, and that will be continuously updated, of course.
Yes.
Great.
And I put the link in the chat for Vallafen. So thank you very much. We're going to wrap this up today. So yeah, thank you so much for being with us. I let you have some lunch. Thank you. I really appreciate all your commitment to the community and giving up your lunchtime so that you can educate our audience.
Thanks.
So thank you so much once again. I'm looking forward to have you back. So yeah. That's it.
Thanks for today. Thanks for all the great questions and all that.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
It's been great. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.